Hello everyone and welcome to KDH art class. Today we're going to be working on collaging our James Rizzi's inspired cityscapes. So we are going to be using colored pencils, crayons, whatever you happen to have. I'm going to be using the combination of those two. You're going to need scissors for cutting things out, glue for gluing them on, colored paper for your background, and then paper for the items that you're going to also create and add to your cityscape. We're going to be using a little half page here, keeping it white, and that way we can use the colored pencils and add all kinds of details to the work on our paper. So remember, James Rizzi did collage work. It doesn't look that way. His paintings, he would do his background, and then he would paint some of the taller buildings and attach them, and then do some of the smaller buildings and then attach them on top. So you had your background, you had your tall buildings, and then you put your small buildings on that. And then you might have put some, boats or cars in front of that, and people, and really kind of layered his artwork a little bit. So we're going to do basically the same thing, just to better understand his technique, and maybe it's something you are inspired to do as your style. Anyways, let's get started. Let me clear out. We don't need scissors and glue yet. Actually, you'll need your scissors. And the first thing you're going to need to do is cut around the perimeter of your buildings. So I went ahead and did that in advance. So you will need to pause the video so that you can go around and trim out just the sky part of your building. Once you have that, you're going to need to figure out where you want to place it on your paper. Do you want it kind of up in the corner so you can add things down here in the foreground? This would be the cars or people or things like that going on here, boats. Or do you want it a little bit lower, in which you have more of a room up here at the top, and you're going to be adding things in the sky. James Rizzi, he would add airplanes, he would add UFOs flying around, as well as the clouds, and he would often do both the sun and the moon, or daytime and nighttime in the sky as well. You could also put it in the middle and do a little bit of both. You can set it to one side. Ooh, kind of like that. Since I did kind of cut off this little guy here, I might do that. Maybe pull it up a little bit higher. Oh, I'm liking how that's going to, I won't have as much room in the sky here, but I will over here. I'll be able to put something in the front down here, and I even have this option over here to do something with. Okay, now from there I'm going to say wait on gluing it down, unless you are positive that's exactly where you want it to be. Alright, the next thing is I'm going to be taking this paper and my colored pencils and crayons, and today if you want to use markers, of course you can if you have them. But my students are basically going to be just using the colored pencils and the crayons. So let me go ahead and pull these out, since they're always difficult to get out of the box. Now I like these because in my old age, small pencils and crayons are getting harder and harder to hold. So they don't get too short, they stay nice and long. And all I have to do is, instead of sharpening it, just twist it, and it's ready to go. So the first thing I'm thinking about for my cityscape is, everybody pretty much knows how to do the sun and the clouds and the moon and stars. I will leave that to you. Let's work on something a little bit more unusual. And I'm thinking of, let's say, like a car. So to do my car, or in this case, let's just do a simple bus. Buses nowadays are kind of flat in the front with a little bit of curve. And they run down. Now, this is being in the foreground, which means it's going to be lower and closer, which means I can make it larger. So, now, James Rizzi lived in New York City, so if you want to change this to a subway car, you can do that as well. So I'm just going to do kind of like a little city bus, a little metro bus, as I call it. And go ahead and add where the wheels would be. So a rainbow for each wheel. And then you connect in between. And up above, they have the windows. Of course, you got to see out the front. And then you would have windows for the passengers along the side of your bus. And I love it. They're a little bit off. They're a little different sizes. You can even add like your bus steering wheel if you want something like that. You can add your rear view mirror. He's got to be able to see. Of course, he kind of needs a little window to look out as well, doesn't he? Or she. I actually know both male and female bus drivers. Okay, from there you can think about what color the bus is going to be. Ours in the area, they usually are white. So, and they have kind of like red and blue stripes. The whole Texas Americana color theme. So I'll do something along those lines. Oh, that would be fun. I could do, speaking of which, since I am from Texas, make my little star. And of course you are going to be decorating your bus any way that you want. I can just make it a Texas flag. Why not? You have those theme airplanes and buses. Even James Rizzi had a vehicle on one of his that was decorated like the American flag, red, white, and blue. I would do that, except there's a lot more stripes and a lot more stars than our Texas flag. The Texas flag has just one big white star, and then it's divided. The bottom half is red and the top half is white. Oh, this is kind of fun. Love it. And it's going to just make the bus more exciting. Okay, you can of course add people inside the bus. I think I'm just going to kind of darken up the windows. Or you could have yellow in the windows because it's lighted on the bus. That's just picking a contrasting color. Alright. the wheels. This is, of course, the hubcaps or the rims. And the wheels. And once you've finished decorating your bus, if that's what you're wanting, then you can go ahead and cut it out and glue it onto your collage paper. And disregard the fact that I'm just going super fast. Alright, other things is you could do cars. And I like doing like those unusual cars. So maybe this one's going to be that rounded VW bug. Such a trendsetter, you know. And coincidentally enough, James Rizzi would actually paint his style of artwork onto this style of car. How fun is that? I think he did like 5 of them or something like that. And back in the 70s, they would do like flower designs and happy hearts and paintings all over it. Thus the name The Love Bug came about. Or you can just do it a normal color. Other things is he would have, because New York City was in the harbor, he would have these big cruise ships in the water, or ferries. Sometimes they would drive their cars onto these boats to get from one side of the city to the other. And then windows for all the people. I'm doing a very, very fast job. I hope you go a little bit slower and fill it up. And they always had the water line for these boats. I think it was a safety precaution or something. You wanted to see a little bit of the red, but I think if you couldn't see any of it, then that was like you were weighed down too much or something like that. Alright. And then you can do any kind of little theme you want with it. Making some fun colors. Oh, mine's got kind of a Mexican or Italian flag color combination going on here. And I can sit there and it's lighted up. I'll be able to see the boat on the water. Light the windows up. So you could be adding boats, and of course any kind of boats would work. You do have sailboats. And then add your sails, otherwise you're not going to be traveling very far. Sometimes I color those sails nice and bright so you know whose it belonged to. What color goes good with that? Oh, why not a purple? And tie it all together, coordinate it, color it in, colors. Oopsie, and ta-da, it's already sharpened. Part of the reason why I like these. Wasn't that quick. You don't have to see me Sharpen, sharpen, and sharpening it. I think you're getting the idea. You could also be adding some trees. And of course, you have your green trees. Or almost like a little cloud that you could be adding. That would be very difficult to cut out, so I actually recommend the evergreen or the Italian cypress, which is a tall, skinny triangle, Christmas tree looking thing. So you have some of those. And these are always just fun to add around. And you can add motorcycles, people, like I said, the sun, the moon, and then by the time you start cutting them out, you can start gluing them onto your paper. You could also take some other colored paper Yep. Sorry, had to dig for that for a second. You could take other paper, and as you can see, I've already cut out one sun from this one. So this sun could be a little bit different. It was like, how can you just cut? And it's like, well, I'm visualizing the circle that the sun is. And I try and stop my scissors at that little circle line. Keep burning. Paper keeps driving me crazy. I should kind of like it like that. So you could be gluing on your sun. Gluing on your buildings. Cutting out and gluing on the vehicles. What's funny is if I try and just use the general kind of cutting it and let the students hopefully come to the realization that I meant cut out the whole thing, they'll only do what they saw me do, and they'll try and get by going, but you cut around it, you didn't cut all the little details. So I want you to truly cut all the little details all the way around each tire. You drew the tire, cut around the tire. And little by little, you are collaging your piece. Ooh, maybe there could be the ocean in the background or water in the background. Or it could be next to a city park. New York is known for Central Park. There's all kinds of trees. There'll be a lot of cutting of trees. And there you go. So, have fun collaging your James Rizzi projects. And I hope you come up with something spectacular. Have fun. And I can't wait to see your artwork as you finish it.